Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And let me just say I'm glad that the United States stands with Israel. I will say that we should support an ally in the region, someone who is like-minded, a democratic government who believes in capitalism and free markets, and who also has a people that worship the same God that we worship, and that's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There's a lot of commonality there, and so I'm proud of that. In the past 12 years, terrorists have succeeded in attacking the homeland 4 times. The intentional driving of an SUV into the crowd of students at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill in 2006, with the shooting of an Army recruiting office in Little Rock, Arkansas in 2009, the shooting by U.S. Army Major Hassan at Fort Hood in 2009, the bombings this year in Boston. Of the 60 plots, 49 of those could be considered homegrown terror plots. 60 plots against the country, 49 could be considered homegrown. This means that one or more of the actors were either American citizens, legal permanent residents, or visitors radicalized predominantly in the United States. The Washington Post reported this week, in wake of the recent Special Forces action in Somalia, that Obama's State Department has, since 2009, opposed attacking al-Shabaab training camps because al-Shabaab was, and I quote, a hybrid organization in which there was an element of East Africa, of al-Qaeda, and foreign fighters, but the large mass of the group was concerned with Somalia issues and had not signed up for global jihad, unquote. Ms. Blanchard, do you believe that this is an accurate description of al-Shabaab?
I think, as I said in my testimony, it is both. There are elements of al-Shabaab that are focused on a global agenda, and there are elements of al-Shabaab that are focused on an agenda inside Somalia. You have members, particularly among the foreign fighter contingent, that are focused on international targets. You had 2 attacks in 2008 and then in June of this year on UN compounds inside Somalia. The narrative publicly released by al-Shabaab about the Westgate attack includes the specific intent to target Westerners, Western diplomats, and civilians.
So how do you see al-Shabaab evolving over the next 10, 20 years?
Well, I don't want to project a future for them of 20 years, but they're not going away. Military advances by the region.
Do you see them growing into an al-Qaeda type threat?
I think the trend is there. Their military losses on the battlefield suggest that their ability to conduct an insurgency is shrinking if we are able to sort of continue those regional military advances. But what has developed, and very worryingly, is a sort of parallel clandestine structure called the Emniat within al-Shabaab that Godane leads. It is composed of both Somalis and foreigners, and it appears to be structured in such a way that it can continue even if al-Shabaab loses the territory it now controls.
Yeah, thank you for that. Ms. Castro, what will that mean for U.S. Homeland Security?
Well, as al-Shabaab or elements within it focus more on international targets, and knowing that there is a strongly affiliated Somali American diaspora here in the United States, it could mean that their motivation for conducting an attack on the U.S. homeland is growing. As I mentioned before, they already have the capability to conduct small-scale attacks against soft targets. Are we going to see them attempt to do what happened on 9/11? I don't believe so. However, will they do something that happened at Westgate or Mumbai or even something that happened in Russia with the Chechens in Beslan? I think that danger is indeed growing.
Okay, thank you so much. Last weekend, our Navy SEALs conducted a daring operation in Somalia to go after a key leader of al-Shabaab. According to news reports, U.S. Navy SEALs, under the cover of darkness, engaged hundreds of Somalis protecting the terrorist compound after infiltrating from the sea. And I'm always awestruck by the bravery of these incredible individuals that serve in our Navy SEALs. Reportedly, the SEALs chose to withdraw after seeing that al-Shabaab fighters were using children as human shields, and the Pentagon noted the operation proves that we can apply direct pressure on al-Shabaab at a time of our choosing. The Pentagon justified its weekend actions in Somalia based on the authorization of use of military force passed after 9/11. So, do you think that's justification for that?
Do I think the AUMF is justification for the
for
activity?
our raid on the Somalis?
Yes, that AUMF has actually been cited several times in operations that we've supported in Somalia, and I believe it is a useful use of that AUMF recently.
Yeah, that was rhetorical. I'd just like to point out, my time's expired, but point out that this operation occurred 15 days after the cowardly mall shooting that al-Shabaab perpetrated in Nairobi. It's been 393 days since the attack on our consulate in Benghazi. 393 days since Benghazi was attacked and 4 Americans lost their lives. Has the President taken any similar steps to bring those terrorists to justice? And the answer to that, Mr. Chairman, is no. And I yield back.